Hello, everyone, and welcome to 2024. This is our first show this year, so I am extremely excited because we've got the legendary. We're talking a legend, and if you all don't know this name in real estate, you better get to know Florence Browne. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Grow Global. This is where we talk about how, real estate has always been extremely local, but us as real estate professionals, we know we can have global domination. We just got to get around the right people in order to do so. And Florence, welcome to the show. Welcome to Grow Global, because 2024 is going to be impressive year yet, right?
Absolutely. Thank you, Stephanie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
When I first started on with EXP, people said, "Why did you switch?" And the first thing I said was, "Do you know the icons that are running that locally? Stephanie Gillison and Elizabeth Monarch. Those females are rock stars."
Well, we're rock stars because we're given the right tools to be rock stars, right? As soon as you get your foot on that right platform, you can do anything you want in real estate. And that's what I love about it. I always tell people, I'm not the smartest real estate broker out there at all. But if you get yourself around the right people, the right technology, and the right tools, you can be global. And that's exactly what we've done. And I'm so glad, that you saw that and you see the ability here. And it hadn't been that long since you've been here at EXP, but let's talk about your real estate career. How long have you been in the business now?
20 years now.
20
Got
years.
licensed in 2004. Kind of grew up in the architect, commercial real estate industry. Had a lot of backdoor knowledge, and just hit the ground running after I got licensed. Absolutely loved it.
So let's talk about your path before EXP. You started out at an independent firm,
Yeah, Walter Wagner Jr. He was actually kind of a local powerhouse. He brought the malls
Yes.
to Louisville, Mall St. Matthews and Oxmoor Mall, which are iconic in the state. So we had already had a collaboration with them, so that was an easy move. Had talked to Pat Parks, who I considered was a rock star at that time,
Oh yeah.
and just felt more comfortable in the arena that I was already involved with. The architects that I worked with were actually licensed with Wagner, so they were like, "Come on board with us. We'll do property management." So just got all the aspects of commercial real estate, in kind of one bundle there.
I
So
love I
yeah.
love it because look,
At that time when I first got licensed, I was the only female agent with 18 male agents. So
I love it.
they were very gracious, I will say. It was a good
Well,
team.
people ask me all the time, how the heck have you made it in commercial real estate? Because of that whole female thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And let's talk about that, Florence. You come into Walter Wagner, you're the first female on the roster. There's 18 guys. How did they treat you?
There were other females. They just weren't actively in the office every day. They were, I will say, they treated me like a little sister. They were gracious. I had a lot of questions, and I asked them all to every person that walked in the room, whether it was in the copier room or we were at the front desk or in passing. It was like, "Hey, I need this. I need this. Can you tell me how to do this?" And had I not had that desire to learn more and just let them all pass me in the hallway, it would have been a different scenario. But it was it was a good time to be there because those were older gentlemen that I felt like at that time they had more time on their hands.
Yeah.
They believe it or not, there was still a microfiche in the office. I didn't even know what it was then.
Microfiche.
By that time, it was so old by that time. And I remember hearing a podcast of you saying, "Yeah, I was teaching these guys." I was the newbie, but I was teaching these guys how to do technology and create brochures. And so it was the same. It was the same arena.
That's so true. It's microfiche, microfilm is it was the old the film roll that you had to put into a system and you could look at it and then print it if you want. Some of the
it was like you were literally looking down into a microscope.
Like a microscope, exactly.
And they still had the residential catalogs, and so quickly changed. Shortly after that, technology took off, and that was gone very quickly, fortunately, in our career. So, things became at your fingertips, and which, made our lives a lot easier. So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
right. That's right. And then from Walter Wagner, where did you expand off to?
just a couple other small brokerages, kind of looking for commercial niche. Just enjoyed, the change in the environment. I always like to change. I like new stuff. I like to see whose perspective is working. But most recently ended up with Gant Hill and Associates, and that was a good move for the time that I was there. Learned a lot from that team, and understood that, I'm good on my own. I'm kind of, and that's what EXP offers, is I can go on my own. I don't necessarily need to be a broker. I become my own business with the tools that EXP has to offer. It's endless. I
Oh,
mean, resources, that we have at our fingertips are amazing.
you
And
know,
it's all virtual. That's the thing
yeah.
about it. I can do it on my time. I can educate. I have so many meetings on Tuesdays, from boards that I'm on to client calls, that I can't always make the Tuesday meeting, but I make it because I make myself go back to the recorded, video. So it's the tools are endless. I mean,
I
it's
know. And the referral network, I was talking to an agent this morning, and I'm so proud of him, because about 2 months ago he reached out, and he was on a team. He's in a different market. He's in Rhode Island. He's on a different team. And he wasn't making the enough money. He was actually, doing deals, but by the time he paid the brokerage, paid his team leader split, and then took home commission, he was averaging 10% on a
yeah,
transaction.
yeah.
He actually sat down, did the math, because he couldn't figure out, why is he driving Uber? Why does he have to drive Uber in order to eat? And that's what he figured out. And his big thing in looking for another brokerage was, he didn't have a sphere of influence. That's why he joined a
Mhm,
team in the first place. And he
mhm.
said, Stephanie, if I'm going to look at EXP, this is what I need. I need a referral network. I need where my phone is ringing, because I don't have a sphere to go and market to. And I said, that is exactly what EXP is. It's 90,000 agents all across the country that are part of one company. We're not independently owned and operated franchises. So the level of engagement and collaboration is off the charts. It's easy to get to anyone in our internal communications platform. I said, but aside from that, you've got all these other different programs that you can become a part of. If you want to be REO, if you want to have Relo, if you want to have whatever the case is, we've got that.
Mhm.
60 days with EXP, he became the #1 agent in the state of Rhode Island in December. He did
Nice.
more transactions than anybody else. And
Well,
so you too have been here a very short time, but the level of communication and access to people, and putting, your off market listings, or just needing things. I mean,
mhm.
talk to us a little bit about what you've experienced so far with that.
It just hands on immediately. I mean, whether it's through an email or through the virtual training, we are legally liable for so many, real estate rules.
Yeah.
And if you do them wrong, shame on you, especially at EXP, because you are trained and taught where to go. Kentucky State Group gives you, here's the updates in the laws, and this is what you need to know. These forms have changed. Smaller brokerages sometimes get away from making sure that they have those for you, and we're independent contractors. So yes, we are responsible on our own for those things. But that, again, that resource with, and it's not bothering somebody. It's not calling
No.
somebody and saying, listen, because you kind of hate to do that, especially if you're in the industry and you should know everything. You're like, okay, now how are you doing it at EXP? Well, there's a link everywhere with EXP that you just click on, and then you go here and it shows you exactly what you need to do. And everything is at your fingertips. The resources on the updates, the programs, calendars. It's just very refreshing to be a part of it.
Well, and what I love so much about it, and you had a great experience when you entered the business, right? You went to Walter Wagner, you had 18 of these tremendous, icons in the commercial real estate industry there to help you, and they wanted to help you. When I got into the industry, I kind of fumbled around, because I went to a very small independent brokerage, and he couldn't help me with what it was that I wanted to do. But, he held my license, and I taught his agents how to use a computer because it was brand spanking new, and that kind of thing. That's how I entered the industry. And now, looking at what all's at EXP, what I love about it, 25 years in the business, look, I still have so much to learn because so much changes with this industry.
Mm-hmm.
Or AI, I love what we've incorporated into our business this last year and going forward with AI and having, so many opportunities to get things done in a manner that is highly professional, but also fast, right? Because real estate is fast. And, just all these tools and resources at our fingertips, like you said, is just easy to run your business and be able to scale and grow it, to what you need, what you want it to be. I know that when you and I first talked about EXP, one of the big questions you have for me is, how are you doing this business all over the US and all these other countries? And I said, well, Florence, it's like this, we're trained to get a real estate license. We're trained to abide by the rules of that state because that's where our license is hung. But in a big world where you have a brokerage that's one brokerage in all 50 states and 24 countries, we have the use of license portability unlike any other brokerage can utilize. And that's a huge thing here at EXP. License portability, people, Google it, search it, read it for yourself. It is something that exists as long as your brokerage is open for business. And that's a huge attraction to who I'm speaking to now, because agents that I know in the business, they're starting to, okay, maybe it's time to buy that second home. Maybe they want to spend half the year in Florida or the Carolinas or wherever the case might be. Well, here at EXP, we can do that easily because we can work virtually anywhere.
Right. Right. And I love it too, because I have kids that live in Austin right now. And now the trip can be, okay, go out and look at property and then have that opportunity to spread the word, help them out there with what they need. If they have friends in Austin that are looking for real estate, I have somebody that I can work with.
That's
EXP gives us that tool.
That's right. That's right. I'm so excited for 2024 because I know you came on, toward the end of 2023 and then the holidays are coming up, but you've got listings all over the state of Kentucky. You're going to be expanding into multiple different markets. I love that, you have such an expertise in the commercial side of business. And I know agents reach out to me from all over, other brokerages and so forth. And they're like, hey, can you help me with this deal? And I know you and I talked about that. You get the same thing where you are very much willing to work with agents on their commercial transactions.
Yeah. And, I think the one thing that I would suggest to anybody if you're not licensed, or if you are licensed and you do primarily residential, start going to planning and zoning meetings. You want to learn the language. You might not like what you hear sometimes because it can be brutal down there, but you start to learn the language and then you start to understand what's required of your city, or your state even. And there's a world of knowledge involved with that. So yes, we can all, like you said, it's not a 1 hour training course when you tell somebody how to become a commercial real estate agent. Fortunately, I grew up in the architectural industry, and then kind of the collaboration was perfect for me. But you have to learn it, you have to learn the language of commercial real estate because it's expected of you as an expert.
That's right. That's right. And now too, in my opinion, it's so much easier to break into the commercial industry if an agent wants to, because there is more training, there is coaching, there's so many resources out there. I know, every single day inside of EXP, there's an asset class meeting that's existing. Today was all about selling medical offices and, multifamily and industrial and all these different things that we get to tune into and learn even more about. I mean, I've learned a lot by tuning into those because we get exposed to these brokers from all these different markets.
You have to learn every day. I mean, you have to task yourself with, like, I call Tuesdays my day of planning meetings, but also my day of learning, because there are so many opportunities online with the enhancement that we have of AI coming on board and everything. We need to take advantage of that and be on the forefront where other people, they're still hearing the word. They're not sure what AI is, but making sure that it's in your daily plan. And I think the real estate market has done a really good job of, taking advantage of that resource.
Yes.
So,
Yes, for sure. I know we have. I mean, that's one of the
yeah.
things I tell Jamie, who all of you that know Jamie that works behind the scenes here at the Gillison team, I say, Jamie, use that brain we pay for, the chat GPT, because it's
Mhm.
amazing what we can come off, get
Yeah.
from that, our
Yeah.
social media posting, the way to just to have better write-ups on our properties, the way
Hmm.
we can create offering memorandums. And the thing with chat GPT and other forms of AI, a lot of real estate agents are now getting certified in that, which is a certification that EXP is offering, so that we can adapt it quickly
Hmm.
and not wait until we're behind the eight ball there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Florence, let's talk about 2024 in your playbook. What do you, when you look at the current conditions of the market and so forth, what's your take on everything?
Each sector I think is different. And I do feel like Louisville is definitely an insulated, we're not coastal towns. We don't hit the high highs or the low lows. And specifically in Louisville, we have so many resources in every sector. Retail feeds off of what's going on in industrial. We have the UPS World Hub here. We have the Ford plants. We have General Electric. We have a beautiful waterfront, that there's always a plan to expand. The bourbon, scene in Louisville and in Kentucky has just skyrocketed. So when it comes to what's going on in Louisville, yes, we have the office vacancy, but historically, you can look back, and there has been vacancy in office in Louisville
Always.
specifically. Always, it's the nature of real estate. Older buildings are not so pretty, so you add inventory, it creates vacancy. So people move from an old building to a new building. So there's that kind of like in residential real estate when the interest rates would go up and the home prices would come down. There's that balance that you have to meet. And it always evens itself out. Now we have a very strong industrial market here, in with the Glendale plant coming in with the EV batteries that are planned. It'll hit Louisville. It will affect Louisville.
Yeah.
It'll enhance what we've got going on here. People will drive from E-Town to Louisville to do the bourbon trails, that kind of thing. So, and then Louisville with Churchill Downs and the entertainment events that we always have. There are 16 to 17 million tourists that hit Louisville every year. That's every year.
That's right.
So we're a very healthy city. There's still some expansion in our international airport that's planned. So we don't hit the bubbles. So we don't hit the low lows. Do the interest rates slow things down? They absolutely did. We saw it.
Yeah.
I was actually working with a developer who we were going good. The development was, believe it or not, on schedule to complete in like 30 days early.
Mm.
Everything was on task. We were 50% occupied on a vacant property, and interest rates started ticking up, and then they kept going. And he's like, it's not this problem. It's I've got loans on everything that were 3% that are now 6 and 7. So we could feel the pinch. I could feel the pinch from my clients, and so we had to pivot. What are we going to do? What do you have that you can sell that we could roll into 1031, take the boot and move it into this property to help alleviate. But then in a matter of, and I don't know if you watch Trepwire, but they do a daily data on what's going on in the commercial market, and the interest rates have just been. I mean, they'll say it's gloom and doom today, and the very next day they'll be like, we didn't see it coming.
Right.
So you can't. There are so many things that are out of our control that you can't predict. But you can. I always say if you fail to plan, you can plan to fail. You
That's
have
right.
to have a contingency plan in real estate, in commercial real estate. especially on your development projects.
Absolutely on that. And, we talk about development, and you mentioned this with the heavy industrial market, and, just across the river in southern Indiana, I mean, massive booms are happening over there. We just got Canadian Solar that's going to be building a multi-million dollar, $100 million, 800 and some odd million dollar facility where they're going to manufacture solar panels. Well, that's going to bring in other businesses over there.
Yeah.
You've got Cheesecake Factory coming in that they're going to make all the cheesecakes that they push out to their restaurants right over here in southern Indiana, which is right across the river. And so that even helps with Louisville. Me being a developer on both sides of the river, I've already started to see the relocations that are coming in that are associated with those two facilities, already. But in the next 2 to 3 years, there's going to be an influx of another amount of people coming in. And on January 25th, we're supposed to hear a huge announcement, the largest land transaction ever in Indiana, the entire state is taking place. And that's going to be in the tech space. And they have not announced who that is. There's a lot of rumors as to the 3 that it probably will be. But on January 25th, that's going to be announced, which is going to bring another few thousand people into the workforce, which is right there. It's Kentuckiana region. So we've got a whole lot to be proud of. Yesterday, they announced the biggest distillery. You touched on this, but the most expensive distillery announced in the state of Kentucky. So lots of things are booming. And so for agents out there that, maybe you're okay, you can't get houses sold, or maybe you're tired of the residential side of things. There's so much to just learn and pivot into doing commercial real estate, because there's so much expansion that's continuing to happen, which spawns off other, businesses. Like the EV plant, for example, there's going to be however many suppliers that need to be within close proximity of that
absolutely.
facility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The one thing that I was listening to yesterday is have cash on hand right now, because foreclosures are going to happen in the commercial arena. They are. Whether it's, you can give tax incentives all you want, but if you've got an office building that has a loan coming due and they're not going to be able to make it, that's going to hit the auction block.
That's right.
And there will still be a need for that. I mean, I think Louisville has tax incentives right now, which are like $3 million set aside in 2024 for tenant build out. That's $30 a foot. That's some nice, investment money for, and I'm not even sure what all the other tax incentives would be, but come in and take that risk on those properties. There are certain things infrastructure wise that you cannot do. You can't go in and make an office building multifamily, but you can go in and make it more appealing to have somebody move to your building from Indiana or from E-Town. As these businesses start to grow, they do need bigger footprints, and more people are getting back into the office. I get it. It makes more sense for a lot of people to stay remote. I think they identified that those costs were costs that they don't have to take on anymore. But you still are going to have those. I mean, who is it? DoorDash has taken up, hundreds of thousands of square feet in bigger cities, and we still will have that need. We still will have that need. Louisville's got that draw. So, yeah, it's have that cash on hand. If you're an investor, look and see what's going to hit the auction block or the foreclosure, and have an agent.
Don't wait till it goes to
the real estate agent. Yeah, make sure you're abreast of what's going on in the market.
I always tell agents, don't wait till it shows up on the auction block. You need to be soliciting that.
The mortgage. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, with the tools we have at EXP, we can look up those that have loans coming due over the course of the next year. We can already see that ahead of time. That's what we're spending our time doing, is marketing those people, those people.
And those bank relationships are so important. And, having a plan when you talk to those bankers, because, they don't want those loans to go bad. They would love for somebody to help with, a 1031 opportunity, or you just have to keep that, top of mind when
That's right.
When you're getting creative with real estate. So,
well, That's what I love about this is real estate can always be creative. Everything is always changing. Think outside the box. If you're not sure what thinking outside the box means, get around people that can help you and show you how to think outside the box. Between Florence and myself, there's nothing that we haven't been there, done that, tried that, and won that, right?
That's right.
That's a good one.
That's
Been
right.
there, done that, tried that, won that.
And bring it on 2024, because I want to do a deal in Italy.
Yeah, exactly.
I spent a lot of time in Italy, and I'm like, you know what? I know who I'm going to target in Italy. I know what I'm going to do down there or out there.
Well,
so,
and now that you're with EXP, you have the opportunity to do that, and that's
exactly.
what growing. That's what growing.
Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
Sky is the limit. You know, the first broker I ever had said, Stephanie, you dream too big. And I knew at that moment I couldn't listen to him. I needed to continue to dream big, because you don't get big things unless you think about them. Right.
Right.
And you gotta go do it.
And again, nobody's going to plan for you. And if you fail to plan, you can plan to fail. So, write it down. And I will say, I think EXP does a good job of helping you focus on your goals, because all the calls and all the teams that we meet with on a regular basis online, everybody is forward thinking. Everybody is trying to help you reach your goal, and they actually motivate you to set those goals. So, I do feel like it's important to be in front of motivating people. It just helps you move your agenda forward in your plan.
That's right. Well, and I stay fired up all the time because all the people I'm around are fired up. We all have something to do, and we're excited about it, right? I mean, and that's what it's all about. When I speak to other agents and they're in a rut, I'm like, no, let's get you out of this rut. Let's think of all the ways. Yeah. And, that's the thing about that I loved when you reached out to me, because that has always been your mindset as well. We're all about helping agents win in this business. We both have a servant's heart, and look, the more you give back, the more you gain in the long run. And that's what a lot of this is about. But collaboration is off the charts. And Florence, I know you as well as I, reach out to us. If you're watching this video and you're like, man, I want to drink what they're drinking, we want you to reach out to us and have the conversation. Let's see how we can get you to grow global and have that dream big mindset, because that's what it's all about. Florence Browne's going to do big things in 2024. I can't wait to watch it, and I can't wait to see you close that deal in Italy too.
That's the plan. I'm going to write it down today.
Write it down, and I'm holding you accountable. And now everybody watching is going to hold you accountable. So, well, Florence, I'm happy after 20 years, we can say we're finally in business together here at EXP. And I can't wait to have conversations with more agents that have the ambition that we do, so that we can get them on the right path to success.
Stephanie, there's you marked that 20-year mark, and that's where I am with it. But it called to mind when I was in real estate school, and this is to kind of keep those real estate agents that are like, I'm not making any money right now. Do I need to change careers? No, stay in it. This is what happened. They when I was in real estate school, they told me, put it in your mind, only 20% of the people that take this test are going to pass it. And then it was like, and then in the same conversation, he would say, and only 20% of those people in the first year are going to stay in real estate. And it was so like, no, guys, don't believe that. I've been in it 20 years now, and don't look back. I'm so glad that I didn't fall for that. So, this is your career because you're an independent contractor, but use the resources that EXP has to offer. I will say that firsthand, immediate change, game changer. So you'll see results. You'll definitely start to see results.
Awesome. Well, everybody, feel free to reach out to Florence, reach out to myself. We'll talk to you together. Let's do lunch. Let's have coffee. Let's just get on the phone call, whatever works. We're happy to take those questions, and can't wait to see what you do in 2024, Florence. I look forward to it. Thanks, you so
Stephanie.
much for today.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye, all. See you.